Welcome to My Money Mindset podcast, where we explore how a healthy mindset is the foundation for financial success. Each week, we delve into mindset hacks and practical strategies to help you enhance your income, help you make more appropriate investments for yourself, and to improve your overall financial well-being. Join us on this journey to transform your financial future by transforming your mindset. Please note that the information provided on this podcast is for general information purposes only and does not constitute as personal, financial or health advice. It has been prepared without considering your individual objectives, financial situation or life needs. Before making any financial or health decisions, you should consult with a qualified professional or financial advisor to ensure the information aligns with your specific circumstances. So let's begin and enjoy this journey as each episode teaches us on how to improve our overall mindset that it overall improves our financial success. Hello everyone, and in this episode I'd like to discuss debt consolidation. So debt consolidation is basically when you have probably too many debts or multiple debts, and you sort of want to refine them all into the one sort of manageable debt, or one or two manageable debts, or actually pay out some of those minor debts. Now, to understand the power of debt consolidation, we've sort of got to understand what assets and liabilities are. And in simple terms, an asset is let's call it, if we're talking a home loan, the asset is your home. The liability is the loan on the home. So quite often when a bank is requesting, or if you're going for a home loan or to apply for credit at a bank, they tend to want to know a short abbreviated list of your assets and liabilities. So what would that look like? That would be something to say, well, in this instance, we'll use an example and we'll say we've got a home loan. This home loan is, the house is worth 800,000. The home loan is at 500,000. So your asset is the home that's worth 800, and you'd place 800 under the home. And the liability is the 500 that you still owe on it. Now, a car loan is exactly the same. So your car loan is the actual liability and the car is the asset. Credit card is basically just the liability. So what that means is a tangible asset or an asset, as in a car or a credit card. Well, the card isn't really worth much. The car is. So if you went to go buy a car and it cost you 30 or 50 odd thousand, then you'd have to borrow money if you didn't have the money. Now, it all goes back to why are we able to borrow that money? So basically it's credit, yeah? So in this day and age, most of the time we all want to buy something. So if it is a home or a investment property or it's a business or a car, and when we see the price tag, we often do not have that amount saved, majority of us. So we have to apply for credit, and obviously a bank or an investor will give you that money to purchase that home. Now, understanding that credit, the moment you do take out credit to purchase that asset, then that is in somewhat termed a liability. Now, there's good liabilities and not so bad liabilities, which is probably another episode, getting into the nitty-gritty of a good liability. Just to touch base on a good liability, you may have a business and you may want to take tax advantages out of growing certain assets in the business, and you take loans on them to assist you with your tax paying ability with the company, right? So, but that's a different story, and I'll go into that with another episode, liabilities with a business. But in a basic sense, going back to consolidation of debt, most of the time they would classify in an everyday home loan situation it is bad debt, or it's debt that you can do without. And what that means is there are no real tax advantages out there to having a home loan debt or a car loan debt or a credit card debt, personal loan debt, that sort of stuff, right? Or you took out a loan to buy furniture or whatever it may be, that it has no real connection to a business or anything that can be as of a tax advantage, um, being a debt. So, all right, understanding that the too many liabilities. So, for instance, most of the time, what's a common thing in Australia is that you get a home, and then 6 months later, people tend to want to buy a new car. And then you buy the home, you get the home loan with it. That's the liability. 6 months later, 12 months, whenever, you might buy a car. You buy the car, you get the loan for that. So now all of a sudden you have a home loan, then you have a car loan. Then you may already have had a credit card that you use that if you pay on time, you don't pay any interest, which is fine. And people get points and so on and so forth. And sometimes you may apply a personal loan if you wanted to furniture or whatever it may be, right? So, but quite often a lot of people, when they start to understand the benefits of good and bad liabilities or assets and liabilities, and they take a snapshot of their current situation of how much money they owe, they tend to somewhat, and look, it does happen where they tend to somewhat uh, feel a little bit over pressurized with knowing that there are too many repayments every month. What I mean by that is, for instance, you have the home loan to pay out and you put it on an auto direct debit, which helps. Um, then you put the car loan auto direct debit, they just take it out of the bank. Then you've got to pay the credit card once again. You can put all these on auto. The problem with putting me on an auto is you're actually not feeling the pressure of these liabilities, and you sort of sometimes, because everyday life gets in the way, you tend not to sort of notice as much or focus as much upon these liabilities coming out of your bank account, right? So, and what that means is basically, well, if you had to personally hand over this money every time it was requested, so monthly, your home loan is requesting $2,500. Then your car loan's asking you for $1,000 to come out a month. All of a sudden, $3,500 you've got to start paying out in physical cash. You would tend to sort of start to second guess, hey, hang on a second, every month I'm doing this. That is a lot of money that I'm putting over to the table. Now, in this day and age, quite often a lot of people say, well, yeah, look, I'm used to it. It's not that bad. What can you do about it? I think I've got bad credit. I think I'll do this and I think I got that. Guys, realistically, if you ever wanted to sort of get sort of somewhere in life and you say, well, I really want to start to build a bit of wealth or financial prosperity or start looking after my money, that is certainly not the way to go by just putting everything on autopilot and not managing it. Unfortunately, we've got these apps that actually do a lot for us, but what tends to happen in the background, it tends to allow us to do other stuff apart from focus on what's going in as far as money and what's going out as far as money. So debt consolidation is sort of a responsibility in a way. And those of you who know me quite well, responsibility is the key element to any success, whether it be financial or personal contentment. Being responsible with yourself, being responsible with your health, your money health, your liability health, all that sort of stuff. So, and it's just another thing to do. But what you've got to do is address the fact that this debt that you have, whether it's a car loan, personal loan, or things like that, is going to continue coming out. And every time you're paying this amount of money out for whatever it may be, well, if you look at it as quite often a lot of people say, well, when I retire, I'm going to need $1 million or $2 million to retire comfortably. What you've got to think is, okay, for whatever age you are and whenever you're going to retire, if you start looking and focusing on the small things, And what I mean by small things is these small debts that you say, oh, look, it sort of takes care of itself, the car loan or the credit card. If you focus on your retirement age, call it 65 just as an average age of retirement, and you say 65, 40 years old, I've got 25 years to retire and accumulate up to $1 million or $2 million, whatever it is that I need to retire. And actually, that's another episode that I'll do in how much do you need to retire. But anyway, um, so you then start saying, well, my car loan now, it's only for 3 more years. It's only 700, 800 a month or whatever. At 700, 800 a month is not any closer to your retirement. And if you times that 700, 800 per month times 12 in a year and you do the sums and you say, well, that's what it's cost me. But you say, I need the car. So what I'm saying about is not to not buy a car or not to not get a car loan or anything like that if you can afford it and so on and so forth. But what it means is to start really addressing the elephant in the room, as in how much wealth is it that you need to retire on? So what I tend to always do with any goal in life, okay, and in this, if this, for argument's sake, this goal is to retire at 65 with $2 million, you definitely want to be having that $2 million that's clear of debt. So it's not like saying, well, my home is going to be worth $2 million. I'm going to have a debt of 400 by then. Realistically, your net asset wealth is only $1.6 million, right? So $2 million retirement at 65 means that your home is $2 million. You go to sell it, you actually receive $2 million in your hand, but now you got to live somewhere. And the next expense is obviously what you've got to take into consideration. So in this example, if you did have a home that's worth $2 million in 25 years time, or you assume it would be, your debt is zero, you go to sell it, and then you buy something else for $1 million, which is downsizing, obviously, you're left with $1 million and a paid off home. That's still retiring with only $1 million, because the home, even though it's an asset and it's worth money, is not really money that you can spend on yourself. The money that's left over from the sale of the $2 million is the money that you can use. So that's your retirement money, is $1 million. So going back to debt consolidation, guys, your little $500, $700 a month that you're paying on your car loan all adds up. Any interest that you're paying on personal loan all adds up. Home loans all adds up. Now, all of a sudden, by knowing this, you still start to think, well, there's not a lot I can do about it. That's the cost of living. Not a lot I can do. But what we can do is refine it. And debt consolidation is all about refining your debt down to a manageable, a debt that you can focus on or understand. This is the amount of money that's coming out of my bank account. I know exactly how much is coming out. I know exactly how much is going in due to wages and stuff like that. And I know exactly what I'm going to be left with in order to live every day, as in living expenses, right? Groceries, etc. So now I've got to work out, okay, if I'm to actually utilize now, a common way of debt consolidation, if you do have a home loan, is utilizing the equity out of your home to pay for your car and pay the car loan off. Arguably, you better check before you do this with your accountant or financial advisor or broker or whoever you use or professional before you do this debt consolidation, because this is just a general advice. It's just a general guidance. It's not in accordance to your specific needs right now, right? So, but these are some ways that debt consolidation can be done, and it's through the equity of your home. You refinance the home, you draw out additional cash. So if your home loan's at 400,000 as an example, your car loan's at 50,000, you would refinance for 400 plus the 50,000, meaning 450,000 on your home loan. You'd pay the car loan off and off you'd go. That can apply for credit cards, bad debts, or whatever it is that you need. credit card payments, all that sort of stuff within reason, right? And like I said, this is purely general advice. It's not specific. So if you are going to look at doing it, get professional guidance here for your specific advice, specific circumstances. Bit of a tongue twister. Okay, so what I mean by that is that debt consolidation would then eliminate. You'd pay the car loan off, and you'd basically just have one home loan. Now, arguably, your home loan now would all of a sudden increase, and the repayments would increase, but the repayment amount hopefully would make sense to be a lot less than what it was with your car. So if the home loan repayment is $2,000 increases to 2,200 and your car loan was 1,000 a month, so therefore your $2,000 that's increased $200 per month has eliminated that debt of the $1,000 a month. Now, these figures I haven't sort of workshopped these figures, but in round sense, what I'm actually saying is the total repayments, and hopefully when you refinance your home loan, it's got to be to a lower rate, right? I mean, you're not just refinancing for the hell of paying out a car loan. You're refinancing to obtain a better home loan rate. So what you want to find is that the bank or institution that your broker is putting you into or is actually a much cheaper rate, or it makes financial sense in a repayment sense. Don't always be too fixated on percentages, as in what's the interest rate and this. Look at the dollars that are coming out of your pocket more than the percentage signs in this instance, right? And what I mean by that is that if you're home loan and you're refinancing your home loan for the car, well, to pay out the car, you want to make sure the home loan drops down, as in percentage rate, and the repayments will come down accordingly. Then your car loan is then consolidated with the equity out of your home, and that eliminates the car loan. So basically the car and the home, two assets under one liability, are cheaper than the original two separate liability repayments. Okay. Now if it does get confusing, reach out and I can always explain it to you. But in hindsight, debt consolidation can help with that financial. So if you're saving an additional $200 or $400 a month, going back to your retirement, that $400 a month times 12 is going to be a lot closer to retirement. What's that, 4,800 or thereabouts, to when you reach 65, if that makes sense, right? So it just means that these little wins or these little savings that you're able to apply, even if these repayments are just set and forget and the bank's just taking it out of your bank account and you're just putting your pay in your bank account and you're sort of not knowing what's going on. These little micro steps towards that retirement of $2 million, as that example I used, is going to be a lot closer. You're going to be the dollars that you're saving amount. So if you're saving $400 a month, $400 closer to your retirement. Don't forget, as you're reaching your retirement, you're chewing up years as well. So don't always think that those years are going to be there with you. So make sure that you're efficient as possible in the savings or the micro savings, and debt consolidation is an awesome way of refining all those little payments. And it goes for personal loans, credit cards, afterpay, and any other liabilities that you may have on the table. Debt consolidation enables you to sort of really refine and focus on the bigger deal of saving money towards a better financial life or retirement. We've really got to make sure that we do this, and it all comes down to responsibility because, like I said, life gets in the way, especially time-wise. 24 hours seems like it's never enough, but we've got to make sure that it's enough because these sort of little tweaks that we're doing for your finances inadvertently is for yourself, and it's for the self-preservation of yourself down the track. It's making sure that your life is going to be as good, if not better, as you get older. A lot of time I often think as you do get older and your energy levels may start to drop off, or you anticipate that they would, and hopefully they don't, or there are certain things that happen with your career or job or business. Life happens, right? And it costs money. You don't really anticipate some costs down the track. You don't know what's around the corner. So these little increments and savings and ability to increase your saving capacity is always better as an investment for your own self, as in living standards, etc. Right? So understanding that debt consolidation is awesome towards our retirement, we sort of get the basic fundamentals of how it all works. And yes, we're going to go do it, and we're going to start implementing a day by day responsibility. We call up our broker, or we make sure that we set aside some time, same way we set aside time to go to the gym or walk the dog or what have you. And we talk to our broker, or we talk to the bank, and we say, okay, what can be done here? Now, I always prefer brokers simply because we always make sure that we utilize all banks at the time. We're just not stuck with one bank. It's like going to a car yard, specifically just to buy one brand of car, or you go to multiple car yards. A broker is like using multiple brands of cars as opposed to just one brand of car, right? So but they have a choice, and they would say, right, bank A, B, C, or D, who's cheaper, who's more appropriate and fits the criteria of what you want to do, and they put you into that position. Now, you put aside time, you get your debt consolidation sorted, you're starting to save this money, and it's freaking awesome. Like, this is great. But as this is all going along, so is time, with time, needs are required as people. It basically happens, and we may need new furniture, we may need to emergency repairs, we may need to start looking at an investment property, we may need certain things, costs, right? And we get back onto this, well, we need credit again. Right, we've done the debt consolidation, we're saving, we're refining, we're responsible. Now we need to spend more money for whatever reason. Pressure test why you want to spend more money. And what I mean by pressure test is ask yourself time and time again, don't always be ready to spend. Ask yourself, do you really need it? Was all that time that I spent organizing debt consolidation in the past, it's not going to just add up. So now all of a sudden, all those little 400s or whatever you've been saving a month have added up to an additional 5 grand, and you're just going to go blow it. No, it's about now like placing yourself into that mindset of, I'm no longer going to waste. I'm going to live. I'm not saying don't spend your money and enjoy life, but I'm actually saying, do you really need it? Is it something that I'm just going to buy because of the hell of it, or is it going to add value? Now, it's sort of one of those pendulum moments in your life where you go, well, if I don't, and the pendulum swings the other way, and now I don't have it, I'm depressed or whatever. It's not something to create anxiety in your life. It's just the question. You need okay, new car is the best way to put this example. If you need a new car because your car's literally no good and it's not getting you to A to B on time and it's uncomfortable or whatever, it's not safe or whatever, right? Then these are the times that while you are saving your money or did do the debt consolidation in the past to help you with this car to get you to work. So when you get to work, you're in a nice, comfortable car. You don't go out and buy the most expensive car, but you buy something that you can afford. Once again, you speak to your financial advisor, accountant, broker, whoever it is you trust, and you go on or you can do it yourself. And ideally, I'm trying to teach everyone here that what you can do in the small things that'll help. So when you do go see your broker or bank, you can have a level-headed conversation and you do understand all the terms and ideologies that they use in order to translate the information that they're trying to save you money, or if they are. So what we've got to do is make sure that with debt consolidation, our mind frame is always looking out for the best deal, which we do, but also looking out for not being lazy, but being responsible with all those liability repayments to be as minimal as possible. And last, not least, I think the main thing here is to understand debt consolidation is an afterthought, right? It's a reactive mode in your mind. So it means that you have discovered something in your life from your past actions that now need to be repaired. And that's a great thing. That's something that you appreciate because you've discovered that all these repayments in the past, or for whatever they may have been because you purchased the assets and encumbered a liability or bad liability with it, you've actually acknowledged this in your mind. And that's the next turning step for you to then begin saving even more or focusing upon the financial wealth or better health of more money being saved because you acknowledged and did an action to fix it. You see where I'm going with this? It basically means that you have repaired something. And why am I pointing this out? Well, it's, yeah, Mark, okay, so I learned something, then I fixed it, and that was it. But what you've got to do, like every day, be grateful for something that has happened in the day. So wake up. Did you find out that debt consolidation is going to win and it's going to help you? Yes. Be grateful for it. Be grateful for something that has sort of just popped into your life. Be grateful for the things that you have. A good common practice in any form is to always identify one thing in life every day when you wake up or before you go to bed, especially, and say, what am I grateful for today? And it could be as something as minute as I picked an apple off my apple tree in the garden. I'm grateful for the fact that the weather wasn't a hurricane in other parts of the world where it's destroyed, townships. These sort of things. It's being grateful. Now, sometimes we can often try and disguise our true self by giving us thoughts that overwhelm stuff. What I mean by that is often people will say, oh, look, being grateful when your life is miserable, all you're doing is masking the problem. So I really am miserable down below, deep down in my personality. And if I just continue to say, well, I'm grateful for this or I'm a positive thinker for that and so on and so forth, you're sort of lying to yourself, right? If you can see that you're sort of saying, well, I'm still miserable after. By being grateful every day, it's not sort of lying to yourself. It's actually being grateful for what you have every day. And when I say being grateful, it's even having the strength in or energy in your body. Thank God I've got that because it's enabled me to walk around. Um, we know that things happen in life and we've got to be grateful for everything. What happens when you start to be grateful and start to understand, gee whiz, day after day, I'm actually starting to realize, yes, it is that do have a lot and I've got a lot to live for. The more that I have and the more that I accumulate in order to successfully share, it's not about accumulation for yourself. It's the accumulation to be able to share in life, then that's when you're going to start to sort of, your life is going to go from sort of, well, I don't know what's happening, or you may feel a little down, to being grateful to everything you got. Then every time you're starting to get it within that train of thought where you appreciate everything, that you're going to look after what it is that you have and you're going to cherish it more. There's nothing more or nothing worse than assuming that what we have in life, whether it be your health, your money, your whatever, your relationships, that they're going to be with you forever. And you've got to acknowledge that, guys, this does sometimes end. The good times sometimes end for whatever reason. And then good times start again. But what it is what you have today is to appreciate that. And gratitude of the simplicity in life is probably the first step to the gratitude of the simplicity of your finances, because you're helping yourself survive in the future, your future self, and it's going to be a lot easier for you. I really hope that this episode helped. Gratitude, number one, responsibility, also number one, because they're the two key things that are going to help you enable yourself to sort of get back into that mind frame of saying that you are able to be successful, you are able to be get closer to that goal, and you are able to implement these small little things that take no real time out of your day, but it actually changes the way you may do things. All the best, guys. Thank you.